Hey PC gamers, and welcome back to the PC Gamer chat log. This week it is me, Lauren Morton, and Molly Taylor, and
Hello.
also Wes Fenlon is here with us.
Hello, thank you for having me back. I'm excited to talk about not E3. E3 is dead. Whatever else is going on in video games now.
We called it not E3 last year, and now that feels disingenuous and too far away. We can't call it not E3. We knew it was, I don't know, we thought it was going to be E3, and now it's not, but now it's like we've lost hope that it's coming home, right?
I think that's too long a name to be called.
Is that too many hyphens for me to say that every time?
The bountiful season of video games. Is that too long?
I keep saying like summer showcases, and that's the most boring marketing type thing I could possibly name it. So I'm begging anyone to come up with a more fun name. I have failed so far. But before we get into all of the not E3 showcase stuff, Molly, what did you do last week?
Oh, I still get to go first. I thought
you still get to go first.
Oh man,
I feel so honored. So I have been playing a little bit of Street Fighter 6 for the past couple weeks now for the review that went up earlier this week. If you've read it, you'll know that I really, really like it. But go read the review up on our website. But yes, I have had a really good time with it. I have a very 3D coded brain when it comes to fighters, so it's been a little bit of a learning process, kind of getting used to losing the third dimension. But I've really loved it. I've had a fantastic time. I got to try out all the modes. Obviously, I got to play a little bit of online as well, and I played a little bit with Wes and got my ass kicked a whole bunch by him.
I would say 60-40 at best, giving myself the generous.
I think it'd be very generous there. I would skew it much more like a 75-25.
No. But see, now I can't talk about Street Fighter. I just look like I'm copying Molly. Well, I played Street Fighter a bunch. No, I actually didn't play a whole lot, but I did do some online matches with Molly, which was really fun. And our ping from California to the UK was like in the high hundreds, or sorry, the high 150, 180. It was showing us like a red health bar the whole time. It was like not happy about our ping. I never noticed a single issue in any of our matches. Like no slowdown, no stutter, no like rewind, nothing. Like it was perfect.
Yeah, nice. Their netcode is chef's kiss. It is bang on. As someone who plays a lot of Tekken, good netcode is something that I'm not used to. So playing Street Fighter 6 online has been quite a blessing. It was real fun. Had a real good time.
Do you think that's going to last once everybody's in? I mean, are you getting the best case scenario right now?
It was really good in the betas as well.
Oh yeah, okay.
It was really good in the betas. So I think,
and the way it works is it's rollback is peer to peer, right? As I understand, I believe it's peer to peer. So it's not like they're going to have overloaded servers in, like maybe their matchmaking stuff could get overloaded and like that could have some issues. But I think if you're in a match, all that should matter is the quality of your connection to each other, I believe.
Yeah.
But we had a funny experience playing in like the online lobbies, which as soon as the game comes out are going to have tons of people in them. But there were just like, at first it was just the two of us in like one of the North America lobbies. And then a couple other people, I guess, who were also reviewing the game, like popped in. And one of them kept trying to like queue up with us, or it has like a kind of classical recreation of an arcade where you can go up to two players' avatars who are like sitting at actual arcade machines. And then you can basically put your quarter down to be like, hey, me next. I want to play the winner. And so we kept like trying to fight each other, and then it wouldn't have the option to like rematch. And we're like, what the hell? Where's our rematch option? And then we get up and there's just like a guy sitting there in like a Blanca mascot costume. Like clearly he had unlocked some cosmetics, and we're like, dude, we're trying to throw down here. Leave us alone.
You guys are the cool kids in the cafeteria, and you're like, could you not sit at our table, please? like we're clearly busy.
But
I felt kind of bad, yeah. But I was like, this guy he's just trying to review the game. He just needs to get some matches in. But also, we were like, leave us alone.
But it's nice because you can like surpass all that as well. You can just play online like without all the cool avatar battle hub nonsense. But it was really good. I had a really good time, and I'm looking forward to playing with my friends when the game comes out tomorrow. If you're listening to this when it comes out.
This game's gonna be pretty freaking big, I think. Yeah. I think it's gonna be in the way that Street Fighter 4 kind of like heralded in a new decade for fighting games, or at least a new few years. I think this game is gonna do the same thing. And just there's 100%. So much in it, right?
Yeah. I'm really excited to see what it's like, and it's kicking off the new generation. So hell yeah. So Lauren, will you play Street Fighter as well, Lauren? You seem like...
I'm such a big fighting games person, Molly. You know me. No, I can't talk about what I did too much last week, because what I did was went and picked up a physical copy of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Embarrassingly not known for being a PC game. So
kind of.
Unless that's right, we do have you here with us, Wes. So you've been monitoring the Tears of the Kingdom situation.
I've got one. It's open. I have yet to play it as of this recording.
I'm still in the middle of the tutorial as of this recording. And I don't have all my powers yet. It's been a busy week here, so I've gotten so far as like attaching a boulder to the end of a broadsword and like smacking stuff with it, and like solving a couple early puzzles, and trying to activate those brain muscles again, which turns out we're like super rusty, because there are some things I look at these shapes that I'm supposed to be putting together and like making a contraption, and I'm like, this is tough. What do they want from me here? And it's like the most simple, starter puzzle, but it's okay. I'll get there. I'll remember how to Zelda properly.
It's like design a wheel or something.
Yeah, it's literally
thing roll.
Attach a hook to a slab and then hang it on this like grind rail and then ride it. And I'm like looking at this hook and I'm like, what could it want from me?
Gotta reactivate those like 2004 Half-Life 2 physics puzzle like memory pathways, where in that game it was like groundbreaking that you could stack two boxes on each other to climb up a wall.
I was feeling real stupid initially, but I think I'm going to orient myself to the puzzles in short order. That's my hope, at least. So that was me last week. But next week, we're going to be getting to all of the big showcases for this year, which despite there being no E3's canceled. We've talked about that on this podcast.
Dead.
Yeah, it is dead for this year, for sure. But luckily, everybody's pretty much congregated around a single weekend in June. It's running from about Thursday to Monday. I think our first show is Summer Games Fest on the Thursday. Oh my God, where's my schedule? Thursday, June 7th or June 8th. Actually, I guess the Guerrilla Collective comes before that on the Wednesday on June 7th. And then ends the following Monday, June 12th, with Ubisoft Forward. Devolver's going to be in there somewhere. I don't think they've said their date yet. But I guess first question, like thinking of yourselves as someone who doesn't have to work during these events. I don't know. It's Wes, how long has it been for you since you've been not working?
That would be a decade. Yeah, that would be 10 years ago was the last time that I just watched an E3 for fun. But even then I was a freelancer, so I probably did some stuff around it. But I was more in the tech world than games at that time. But yeah, it's been a long time, Lauren.
If you weren't working, how would you want to be enjoying this beautiful long weekend of game showcases? What's the ideal?
Well, back then, I kind of just liked the way they... So up until, God, I don't know, like mid-2010s, it was a pretty codified structure where I think Microsoft and maybe EA would do their press conference on, I think, the Monday of E3. And then Tuesday would be the big day with Sony and Nintendo and like Konami, Square Enix. Sometimes, they would have their own shows, and then like it would just be like, okay, off to the show, like show's open. go to the show floor, do all the demos and stuff. So I kind of loved at the time that just like crammed together 2 days of kind of nonstop activity. Because I'm sure even after the initial like Microsoft streams and stuff on Monday, there would be some smaller stuff going on, and like I would watch G4 TV, and they would be doing their very mainstream commentary on whatever got announced. And then as more and more shows came in, I kind of just liked putting them on a second monitor or on TV while I was doing stuff, and just like absorbing just the advertising for like 8 hours a day.
But drowning in it.
Yeah, I kind of got sick of that eventually, and was more interested in seeing people discussing the stuff after the fact and breaking it down. So my absolute favorite like E3 watching memories are from when Giant Bomb did their couch live streams for probably like 7 years or so, where every night during E3 they would have a bunch of game developers, people from the press, just like kind of a hodgepodge of folks come on the couch and just talk about what they'd seen, what they'd been playing, what the hype was, all of that stuff. So I really enjoyed that feeling of like everybody's in the same place and they're all talking about the same stuff and have different perspectives on it. That was always fun.
Yeah. Molly, what about you? If you weren't working now, what's the ideal?
Yeah, I do. I will say I do tend to luck out a little bit with these things because of time zones as well. Like when it does come to like E3 summer showcase type stuff, we are like very much everyone gets stuck in, right? It's like last week I got to just enjoy the PlayStation showcase without having to worry about writing. It
happens to be rather late. Yeah.
I lucked out just a little bit, but because I do work these things now. So my ideal situation is all of my friends in a room together, getting drunk and just yelling at the TV. That is my ideal situation. We did it for the Game Awards, actually, which I know it's an award show, but it's an announcement show, right?
Are you yelling at Jeff? Is that what the yelling is about?
You just, when something cool comes up, you just, you have a little yell at it. And then when stuff is like honk schnoo, you have a little moan at the TV, right? But
you gotta be with everybody, so like Jeopardy style, like what the game is first. Like a trailer starts running, you're like, I know what that is.
You just start guessing. That's something kind of cool about just kind of getting all together in a room and just getting a little bit rowdy over games, getting kind of hype over announcements. But that doesn't get to happen super often because we're already far apart. So Discord call is my next favorite way. But like I said, they are very rowdy. And sometimes
everybody be quiet.
Yeah.
The trailers.
Especially when like it's a trailer you really care about, but no one else cares about. So they just start talking over it. And I'm
sorry,
like,
Molly, that would be the fighting games in my friend group. If
it's
you
like
get your Tekken trailer, my friends are talking over it.
They're just talking over it. Like a cool JRPG will come on and I'll be like, oh, cool. And everyone's like, wah, 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 wah. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. I'm like, just shh. So sometimes I watch it. I like to watch them on my own. If it's something that I really care about that no one else is super into, I'll probably watch it by myself. But in a room with alcohol is the preferred way.
Are you also drunk on Discord, Lauren? And I need to know now.
I can't really have too many drinks. Like in an ideal situation, I get sleepy. So no, I've got to attend the event sober, even if I weren't working. But the ideal is also probably now Discord at this point. But like, we have to watch these things at our desks working. Like, I know I have the command center. I have like a whole battle station and like hee fun. But the ideal is going to my couch and screen sharing my desktop to my TV, which is bigger, and bringing like a Bluetooth headset, which is not a thing that I own, but if I did, I would be wearing it. So the Discord call could be in my ears, and hopefully the Bluetooth from my PC would reach all the way to the couch where I could be. I'm introducing a lot of latency potentially into this process between someone sharing it on Discord and then me screen sharing that to my TV, but That would be the ideal.
You've really constructed an elaborate scenario here of things that you do not have in your possession.
I'm living in a dream world. It's not going to happen anyway. I'm going to be at this desk and I'm going to be watching trailers with all of you people.
Yeah, my most like realistic way of consuming these things actually is like sitting at the desk for 5 hours uninterrupted of like showcase news stories, showcase news stories, showcase news stories, walk to go buy a pizza, come home, like inhale like 3 slices of pizza in 5 minutes, feel really bad, maybe drink a beer before like the evening's whatever inevitable extra showcases. Like they really just cram them in these days. There's so
and you're busy
many of them.
Writing a news story for a game that you may or may not be that into, and you miss the trailer that you really wanted to see. Like that's the reality of working this. That part sucks.
The thing I was thinking about during the PlayStation stream last week is I'm like, okay, is my recall of existing games and my sort of like read of a trailer better or worse because I work these things and like see everything, you know? Like there was one of the I think maybe the first or like one of the first few trailers in the PlayStation show was a shooter that I've already forgotten the name of. It was like a purely CG, you know, character based trailer that I was like, if I haven't
thing?
No, before that one.
I know which one you're on about.
Oh,
because
the Haven Studios
like,
one?
Yes, that one.
What was its name? It has a $sign in it.
Anyway, yeah, I'm
about.
like, I feel like you two are on the same wavelength as me where I watch it and I'm like, is it just me that I've like been exposed to too many of these things, or do just all of these CG trailers for this kind of game just look like the same game?
Right? I mean, I thought it was hyenas at first.
Yes.
I don't think you were the only one.
Also, I didn't remember what hyenas was, but I'm sure if I had seen hyenas, I would have been like, oh yeah, this thing that looks like 3 other games that I have either played or seen trailers for. I don't know.
Or is it X-Defiant?
Oh,
remember what X-Defiant is?
Now that one has like weird Tom Clancy stuff, or maybe it doesn't anymore.
Not
maybe
anymore.
Originally,
it's not a Clancy game.
Did. But yeah, I think there's been one of the things that I kind of miss about E3 now is even though there was some of this, you would see the same games too many times or games that were clearly just on trend for that year. Mm-hmm. I feel like there was a bit more. There was more to break it up, or you would follow a trailer with, well, I'm going to go actually play that game today or tomorrow, depending on when the showcase was, and like get some context for it, you know? And like now we just have these streams of an hour, 2 hours of game trailers, like bam, 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 one after another. And it just all really does blur into, you know, just games look really homogenous when they're doing these CG trailers that are just all about attitude and set to, you know, something from the top 100 pop music charts. And I'm just like, you got to find another way to show these games, I feel like.
Yeah. The fact that none of us can remember what it was called.
I just know it had a $sign.
Yeah, maybe not a great sign.
Yeah.
So as for showcases that we're actually getting this year, obviously we've already had State of Play. There's going to be Guerrilla Collective, which is an indie showcase. There's going to be Summer Game Fest, which is a huge mix of things. Day of the Devs is also indie games, as is Wholesome Direct. Then we have our sister site's Future Games Show, our own PC gaming show, Xbox, immediately followed by Starfield, Ubisoft Forward, and Devolver's in there somewhere. Devolver sometime in June. I don't think we have the date yet. Of all of those, or one that I've forgotten, hopefully I didn't forget any, is there one in particular that either of you are looking forward to? Showcase as a whole, we'll get to specific announcement requests.
Let me throw in just a quick one because I think we're going to talk about Starfield more later. Obviously, I'm excited for the PC gaming show. Starfield, I'll just tease our later discussion and say like I'm not a huge Bethesda head. I used to be, not so much anymore. So I'm kind of curious if this game can like pull off a good showing actually. But I'll let Molly talk a little more detail here.
Yeah, no, I think I think it is probably the Summer Game Fest at that main kind of meaty showcase is what I'm looking forward to most, because there's going to be a little bit from Bandai Namco, and I love a lot of Bandai Namco stuff. There's like some stuff from Hoyoverse in there, and if you've listened to any of the podcasts in the last few weeks, you will know that I am like a big lover of like Honkai. I was gonna say Honkai Impact, then Honkai Star Rail and Genshin Impact. So I'm looking forward to seeing like those, and I do tend to prefer when it is like a mixture of different publishers, because you get like a nice, like it feels like it's a nice pace. Because I like.
What are you expecting from Hoyo at Summer Game Fest? What are you expecting from them at Summer Game Fest, based on like where both of those games are at right now?
I think it's probably just going to be a look at like maybe a future patch. I'm not expecting anything like a huge announcement. I think it might just be like a 1.2 thing for Honkai, or maybe something for Genshin. Genshin seems to be in like going a bit slower at the minute while all the Honkai stuff's happening. So I don't have a clue. But Bandai, I'm expecting Tekken.
Yeah.
Or I'm hoping for Tekken 8 stuff. So
what about a big RPG drop? You think they could come up with like a Ni no Kuni 2, or I don't know.
There already is a Ni no Kuni 2.
Sorry, not 2, 3. A new. I meant to say a new Ni no Kuni, and then tongue twisted. Yeah, a third one. A third one.
I would love that. If it was a Ni no Kuni 3, I would love that. There is a good chance of it being an RPG as well. I do wonder what they would do, because they not long did One Piece Odyssey, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah, that came out beginning of this year, I think.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they do, because I do like a lot of their stuff. So, but all of my hopium is in Tekken 8 right now, because Street Fighter 6 is out this week. Mortal Kombat just came out of nowhere and was like, yeah, we're releasing in September. Like,
Mortal Kombat 1, right?
Mortal Kombat 1. The first
third.
Mortal Kombat.
The first Mortal Kombat ever. We've never had
crazy
before.
But Mortal Kombat 1 just came out of nowhere and was like, September, cool. And like Tekken 8 has been showing a lot of stuff, like a lot of character trailers, and we still have no idea when that game is coming out. So I really want to know. I'm begging for just like a little bit of info of even the year. Like, is it coming out this year? Is it coming out next year? That's all I want to know right now.
I've just got to say, we have to stop with these like reboots and or remakes that just take the name of the series as a whole. I was so annoyed when Saints Row did it. And like, that's just the first one that comes to the top of my head. There have been others. Like, please help. Like, there are already too many games to keep track of. Stop giving them the same names as the ones you already made.
I made that argument on the site last week because there was an interview quote going around with Yoshi P of Square Enix saying like, oh, we've talked about dropping the numbers off the Final Fantasy games. And I don't think they'll probably ever do it. He wasn't saying like, oh, we're definitely, thinking about it, but like it has been discussed. And I'm like, think about how impossible it would be to search for the name of a Final Fantasy game if they just went back to Final Fantasy, or if they pulled a Mortal Kombat and named it Final Fantasy 1, that would be even worse.
Would they not just do like colon name? Like,
I mean, they probably would do that, which is at least easier to Google, but it's all of the subtitles I'm sure would be terrible. I don't know, based on their track record.
Oh, this was a discussion about removing the existing numbers, not like for the future?
No, for like Final Fantasy 17, for example, it could end up being called, Final Fantasy like Uprising or some bullshit. I don't know. No. It would either be really boring or it would be complete nonsense, right? Like that's the only two forms of video game subtitle you get.
I mean, look, based on like the theme that Final Fantasy 16 has, and look, I'm not saying I'm not going to play Final Fantasy 16, but like I would say they're probably going to be boring because Final Fantasy 16.
Lauren,
it's lads and point mail, Molly. You
stop it.
And I'm a fantasy girl, okay? I come from Dragon Age, and I'm like, do something more interesting, please.
Lauren. What if they did like a Nintendo and they just called it New Final Fantasy? And that's That's how they just start numbering it all over again.
Or they drop an extra ly in after the title shows up. It's like finally fantasy.
Gross. Never. Oh my god. Okay.
Moving on.
Showcase that I'm looking forward to. I'm gonna save my like specific game request because y'all know what it's gonna be. But specific showcase, it's gotta be wholesome games for me. I feel like I normally I don't want to say overlook it, but like first of all, I've revamped my personality to respecialize into wholesome games this year, into like cozy games this year, right? It was already an interest, but now I'm like, this is gonna be all of me now. So that's one motivation. And I think in the past, like I've like been very choosy about the stuff I'm interested in from their showcase because they really do cram it full of games. And I understand when you're an indie showcase, the desire to not leave anyone out. Like, of course, you want all of these things to get attention. Like we also have that tendency to be like, please play the indie games. We would love to tell you about them. And the result is that you get like 30-second or like 15-second trailers for 80 different things. And like, how do you even filter that in your brain? It can be tough.
It's too much.
It can be tough to watch for that reason. I hope that I am able to retain a bit more and like be a little bit more forgiving about some of the things that I like that don't immediately grab me, and maybe let some of them sit with me later on. Because I went back to look at like what had been in their past showcases as I was putting our schedule together, and there were some things I think from past years that maybe didn't immediately grab me, but then when they got closer to launch, I was like, oh, I want to play that for sure. Like I feel like Tome might have been one of them. TOEM. Really loved that like funky photography game. I think that was at a wholesome showcase, but yeah, that's my hope, to be less discerning maybe when watching the wholesome showcase, more accepting, more wanting to see the diamonds and all of them.
Yeah, it is my problem with that showcase though, is I love it, but I do find it is just so oversaturated. And it's hard to like to appreciate all of them and all the hard work that the indie developers do put in. I feel like again, it just goes into like a pastel, like weird, blurry mash of games in my brain. So I think they were working on that. I think they like when that first one happened and it was like super duper like tightly packed. I think they worked on that a little bit in the coming years. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they have.
That is kind of the danger of a themed showcase, isn't it? That like if everything is by its nature meant to kind of fit within a certain bucket, then like that's got to be a really big bucket or else it's just going to overflow.
That is very true. Are we expecting anything like funky or unexpected from like Xbox General or Ubisoft? Those are our other two like big publisher shows. Everybody else is kind of showing up to Summer Game Fest, really.
I feel like Ubisoft's going to be pretty dire this year. I don't know, like not that their games will look bad. I just get the feeling that they really don't have much to show. You know, like they'll probably spend a lot of time with the Assassin's Creed game that already popped up at PlayStation.
And they're also going to Summer Game Fest. What are they holding back for their own show? Is it going to be all Siege or like...
I mean, they've got the Avatar game.
Yeah, that's true.
They do have a Star Wars game in development, but I kind of feel like that's probably not like best case for them. I'm guessing is like a CG trailer. Like I'm guessing they don't have real gameplay to show from that yet. Could be wrong. That could be a fun surprise. Beyond Good and Evil 2 release date. Haha, just kidding.
Skull and Bones release date again?
Oh my god.
Even less likely somehow.
Yeah, that is somehow even less likely. What about Xbox, I guess? Outside of the Starfield stuff, is there anything Xbox proper? I mean, we just had the Redfall launch a little while ago, and Phil Spencer kind of had a little bit of an apology tour, it felt like, about game launches. I guess, what is the tone of Xbox going to be when they get their own showcase?
Good question.
They have so many studios, and it feels like very little is coming of that like there has to be a year where all of a sudden there's a tidal wave of new Xbox games.
Is it this year?
But based on just little things happening, I'm kind of wondering, like, is that going to be the case? Like, it seems like the Perfect Dark game is kind of just not manifesting, and I'm sure we'll see some smaller games from a bunch of the smaller studios they bought up. Double Fine. There's I can't even remember all the studios that they own at this point. But
we've got some other big stuff hanging around, like Avowed, that we've seen nearly nothing of.
That feels like the big possibility for me this year. Like, if there's a year for them to kind of show a game for the first time, I know they had that initial like CG trailer, but like this would be a good year for that. But then with Starfield coming out in a few months, like, are they going to really want to focus on a different big open world RPG? I don't know.
Yeah, and risk burying it, right? And then like Fable, we don't know anything about the next Fable game either.
Don't upset me.
I'm so sorry.
I forgot about that. Honestly, I love Fable. It's like probably one of my favorite series of all time. It's such a fantastic little series of games. But yeah, we've just heard nothing about it.
Yeah.
I think we had Fable Legends on the cover of PC Gamer, whatever, 7 years ago before that got killed. And that was the last Fable thing, right? Like, and that game didn't come out. Like, there's also there was a game called Everwild, the Rare game that had a really pretty trailer that I think that restarted development like a year after that trailer came out or something. I think they said like they kind of had to change the direction of it. So yeah, it feels like they have very deep,
interesting things that we want to know about and we know nothing about.
Yeah, a lot of potential, but not a lot of activity so far.
I had forgotten about the Rare game, and I would like to see more of that. Everybody instantly, when that trailer got revealed, I don't remember what year it was, but it was like petting some giant animal monsters, and it's Rare's current art style that's like very Sea of Thieves-y still, but like fantasy, and everybody's like, heck yes! So I would want to see more of that.
Also, just one last thing. If they have not greenlit a Viva Pinata sequel yet in the era of cozy games, like, they are absolute fools. Like, Viva Pinata 3 would fucking bang. It would do so well, and yet they're just leaving it on the table.
Do not get my hopes up. I'm like 2 seconds away from taking back my old Xbox One off my dad just so I can play through Viva Pinata again. I've been like craving a Viva Pinata game, so because you can't run it on PC anymore because it was one of those games.
Was it games for Windows?
Games for Windows Live. Yeah.
There's got to be like a hack for that, right? Surely there's a way around somewhere. There's got to be a community of like 17 diehard Viva Pinata 2 PC players who are like, here's the patch that we made. We went into a hex editor and we removed Games for Windows Live from this game so that we can keep playing it.
Yeah, I should go look that up because, man, I want to play some Viva Pinata again. So bad.
Okay, is this the point at which we should talk about Starfield while we're still in Microsoft territory?
Yeah, so...
All right, Molly, get your Starfield. Did I say Star Trek or did I say Starfield?
You said Starfield.
Starfield.
I'll talk about Star Trek though if you want to talk about Star Trek. Strange New World season 2, so pumped! It looks great. Love that show.
More Star Trek games in development right now, though. For real though.
I don't. So Resurgence just came out, or was that the name of it? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
I think that's it. Maybe
Star Trek Online forever.
Yeah. So yeah, Starfield, I don't know. I wasn't especially impressed with what they showed last year. I think The Witcher 3 was the game that just made me not interested in Bethesda games anymore. I played a ton of Oblivion. I played a ton of Fallout 3. And then when it came time for Fallout 4, all of our coverage of it at the time, and I think everybody's coverage, was kind of focused around like, yeah, they made the shooting a lot better than it had been before. Like, the combat of Bethesda games was never their strong suit, right?
No.
But in exchange for that, you really lost a lot of the more old school RPG freedom of talking your way through conversations and like having that real role playing aspect of it be just as important as the action side of it.
Mm-hmm.
And after I played The Witcher, I was just like, I kind of felt like the characterization in that game, the writing, the side quests, all of that stuff, I kind of just felt like it ran circles around any Bethesda game I'd ever played. Kind of how I felt about BioWare games at the same time, honestly, though I think I have stronger attachment to characters from some of the classic BioWare games, the first couple Mass Effects. So I kind of just had no enthusiasm for Starfield. The idea of a bajillion planets that are, mostly procedurally generated, like didn't do a lot for me. So I've been going in with just really heavy skepticism that it's going to run well, play well, have actually interesting, RPG quests and storytelling and whatnot. And this is the year that they have to prove it. And I assume it will be a big piece of their showcase. But yeah, I don't know. I have I guess I have a high bar that it needs to clear and low expectations, I guess, that it will be the game that really gets me back into Bethesda RPGs.
Yeah. I feel that. Like, I don't know. Even when they first announced it, I just was not feeling it. I'm just not vibing with it. I have to kind of really be hooked in by like sci-fi stuff as well. It has to really, really like grab me. And I just like I never loved Fallout either. Like I thought Fallout was okay, but I've just always preferred like the Elder Scrolls brand of like Bethesda jank, right? And I know people are expecting this massive, amazing 10 out of 10 game, and Bethesda is perfectly capable of it, right? But I feel like people are also forgetting what like nasty jank fests these games sometimes, right? And I genuinely am worried that the hype for the game is gonna eclipse kind of what will probably still be a very enjoyable experience. But I do worry if people's expectations.
You're thinking maybe a No Man's Sky kind of situation?
I'm worried it might be like a No Man's Sky or like a Cyberpunk situation where everyone turned on that game like so fucking fast when it released, right? Everyone was like viciously defending that game until they played it. And then suddenly like half of those people were like singing a completely different tune, right? So it's just not really something that I'm personally super excited about. Who knows? It might end up being great. I did appreciate that like when Redfall was kind of bad, people were like, "Oh no, should we be worried about Starfield?" And it's like, you weren't already? Like that's such a weird like thing to trigger your concern for a game that clearly has a lot of ambition, not just from the developer, but from the people wanting to play it, right? So
yeah,
I do worry about it a little bit.
Maybe
but
the
I'm excited to
expectations
see.
are in like a too big to fail spot right now where people don't. I think that's how people felt about Cyberpunk, right? It's like this is the next CD Projekt RPG they've been working on for 8 years. How could it not be amazing?
After The Witcher 3, how could they not, do it again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you, Molly, in that like I'm primarily a fantasy girly, not a sci-fi, so it has to already clear that for me, and also like just A, it's sci-fi, B, it's a whole new world, so you're gonna have to attach me to that somehow. And I do, from what we've seen of Starfield so far, I wonder about the tone, kind of, because that's the thing about Fallout and Elder Scrolls. They're kind of weird. Elder Scrolls is quite weird, frankly. And Fallout, when done well, is weird. And the tone of Starfield seems very like aspirational space, like in love with exploration, which is very nice if you can make the being in love with exploration thing feel good and not jank as heck. And I'm afraid that I'm going to get in there and find a world that's very, just like
lonely.
Not lonely, but just very like I don't want to say in love with itself as like in a narcissistic way, but like a very in love with its own concept. And I would prefer probably to play something that is a little more critical of its own concept, like in just like a weird way, like recognize the world that you're in is like strange, weird, and like stupid sometimes, instead of thinking that the world that you're in is like beautiful, amazing, like there's magic in space. And I'm afraid that's what I'm gonna get, and I'm probably gonna want some like weirdo gremlin shit. And like, so what I'm hoping for from the showcase is that we get in there and they show us like talking your way through a quest, like Wes said, like in an interesting way, or like approaching something. Like, don't show us the gunplay. We already saw the gunplay in the 15-minute gameplay that we got last summer. We get it. We know you've improved. The combat is better. Please show us that like the stories and like the dialogue it's better this time, because I didn't I don't know. I did love Fallout 4 and like I didn't. It's, you know.
I want to meet some goofy aliens in a bar and like
Yeah.
get drunk with them and then like lose my space wallet and have to go on like a weird mission where we like get our stuff back from some pirates or something. I don't know.
Like, I'm sorry, Bethesda. It's not that I want you to be Obsidian, but like
could you just like, a little bit,
but like maybe just like a little bit. Like I know Obsidian is already doing their own thing. They're also doing like working on the Outer Worlds 2, which like that could also show up during the Xbox portion of that, by the way. All we've seen is a weird teaser for the Outer Worlds 2. But
I do think it's telling that your analysis of the tone, I think, is right on. And but I think it's telling that the game that has actually evoked that real like sense of wonder and magic of space travel and discovery and all of that stuff on PC is Kerbal Space Program, which is is like by definition a game about little goofy little gremlins, right? Like it is what you want, but in a game of like phenomenal depth and complexity and simulation, you know, barely any writing or any of that stuff, right? But like that is the game that makes you truly feel like, oh my God, space travel is the most incredible thing that we could ever possibly do as a species. So I feel like, you know, Starfield seemingly is approaching this from, like you say, a very kind of dead on, straightforward, kind of obvious, like hitting you over the head with mankind's, you know, amazing
our place in the universe,
exploration of space. So, but again, this is like a 100-hour game that we've seen 15 minutes of, right?
Exactly.
So maybe the way they're presenting it is kind of just the most basic part of the experience, and there's like a great weird stuff around the edges. That's what I hope we get a little taste of it at E3. So it seems like we're kind of in agreement there.
Yeah, show me the weirdos.
Yes, please.
Guys with eyeballs on their fingers or something.
So do we have any biggest personal wish lists for announcements that are going to show up? Molly, you said Tekken, right? That's it for you?
Yes. I just want a Tekken release date. That's all I want. So bad. I love that game. I love Tekken 7. Despite everything. So I would just love, especially now, you know, we're kind of ushering in this new generation of fighting games, and we're not even really sure if it's going to come out this year. That is just the biggest thing I want to know is it going to come out this year or not? But I also saw Steam is on the list of like things happening at Summer Games Fest. Yeah. So I'm just going to throw it out there. Steam Deck 2?
No way.
Steam Deck 1.5?
It's too soon. Yeah. Software update, something like that.
Yeah, it is specifically Steam. It's not Valve that's going.
Yeah, it's not Valve.
Interesting.
Don't pick apart my argument like this. Or let me say stupid stuff.
You're right. It's Steam, not Valve. So it's not going to be games. It's going to be either hardware or like, you know, software.
Molly, I want to challenge your biggest dream announcement here being the release date for a game you already know is coming, when like Persona is out there floating around.
6 is not happening. It's not getting out.
You don't even dare to dream it.
They're still milking that Persona 5 cash cow for all it's worth. I don't know when we'll get a Persona 6 announcement.
There's rumors that there's both Persona 6 and Persona 3 remake out there in the ether. I don't know if there's any substance to those whatsoever. I know nothing, but
I have zero hope for anything after that they did that whole like 25th anniversary, like massive hype build up, and it was nothing. It was a big bowl of fucking nothing cereal. That's all it was. It was the worst like build up to zero news I've ever seen in my life. And I have no faith. I have no faith in those people after what they did to me with that 25th anniversary bullshit.
The cornflakes of anniversary events, huh?
That would be an insult to cornflakes. It was upsettingly like
the shredded
bad.
wheat. I don't know what's the blandest cereal.
Shredded wheat does kind of suck. Yeah, okay, shredded wheat. But I would love a Persona 6 announcement. I will like freak out. I will like have the time of my life if that happens. But I'm keeping my expectations low.
Very reasonable. Okay.
Yes.
For me, it's the Final Fantasy IX remake, which there's been enough smoke for that it does seem like it exists. It's on the NVIDIA show or NVIDIA leak from a couple years ago that continues to have things slowly checked off on it. Helldivers 2 was on that list. That was at the PlayStation showcase last week. But I think if this was going to get announced this year, it would have been at the PlayStation showcase yesterday. Square Enix isn't doing their own show, and I don't know, a Final Fantasy IX remake does not seem like something that would show up at the Xbox show. I guess it could be at Summer Game Fest, but it feels like a PlayStation event thing to me. Yeah. So,
because Square Enix is at Summer Game Fest, right? Square Enix
they are, yeah,
is like featured on that list, but I think it might just end up being more of that like dreadful Splatoon. I say dreadful. I don't want to be mean. That like cursed Splatoon copy.
Curse being the nicer word.
Bubble Babble. Foam Blasters. What was it called?
Foam Stars. I think
Foam Stars.
Yeah.
Like such a visually messy, incoherent imitation of Splatoon. And I can't wait to see more of it. And I hope we do.
I do appreciate that, like in the West, no one acknowledges that Splatoon is like a massive fucking deal. We're just like, yeah, we're gonna keep making like extraction shooters, and meanwhile the entire nation of Japan is like, Splatoon is God's gift to humanity. Every person in the country owns a copy of this game, and Square Enix is like, it's so big we have to rip it off.
It rules. It's so good. And you know what? I'm glad someone is finally ripping it off. I Splatoon with VTubers is like a fun concept to me, because they do kind of look like VTubery, but
they do.
It's such a visually incoherent mess from what I saw from the trailer. So
I'll throw out one slightly more likely wish, which is Monster Hunter World 2. I feel like it's maybe time.
Yeah,
maybe we're gonna have to wait till next year, but I think there's a possibility that shows up at Xbox this year.
Well, Rise has been out for what, over 2 years now. World came out in like 2018, I want to say. On console. On console, it came out in 2018, and then on Switch, Rise has been out for like 2 years. So I think a World 2 announcement is not too out there.
It's not crazy. Crazy. No. Lauren, what about you?
I mean, my most wished for thing is to see more of Dragon Age Dreadwolf and get a release date. Neither of those things are going to happen. I just know, like, I have a friend that's banking on them, waiting for the like 10th anniversary of Inquisition, which would be next year, in 2024, and that seems probably right. And it won't be at this, because Dreadwolf always seems to show up at the Game Awards in December. They've done that twice now, so I'm just expecting like that's where they are. They don't come to the summer thing. Much as I would love it, my thing that was gonna be a total wild card pick, but then I started looking into it and realizing I had a premonition of sorts, is Crimson Desert, which is the single player RPG being developed by the creators of Black Desert, the MMO, by Pearl Abyss. I really enjoyed the combat in Black Desert. I have not stuck to it as an MMO. It's like a really, really intense MMO wise, and I just cannot commit my life to that. But I really enjoyed the combat in it. We have not heard anything about Crimson Desert in like a while. I started to look around, and there are allegedly, they mentioned like having new info very soon about it during one of their earnings calls, which was of course not in English, so I have not been able to find a good translation of the source for this yet. But I've seen it kicking around that they've mentioned ramping up that, and they are on the list. Pearl Abyss is on the list for Summer Game Fest, so I'm hoping proper new trailer, new look at that. I'd like to see what's up with Crystal Desert, if it's actually going to be cool.
Crimson, Lauren, Crimson.
What did I say?
You said Crystal.
Is it Crystal?
Crystal Desert.
Crimson Desert. Oh my
You know something we don't?
No, I don't. Crimson Desert. Did I get it right most of the time?
Yes.
This is the effect you were talking about, Wes, is like, we've heard of so many games that like there's so many in here. I know there's a bunch of information knocking around in this brain, but my ability to like instant recall is just like totally jumbled by.
Need a database update. Yeah.
Gosh,
it happens.
I really do. I need a helpful content update in my brain for the ability to search for info. I do need to be patched.
Speaking of Korean games, are we going to ever see that absolutely bizarre Korean Pokemon MMO again? Dokev or Dokev? Yeah. Dokev? Is that going to come out? Is that going to show up at E3 again? Is it going to disappear?
I hope so. What the heck is it? It's
Pokemon MMO, right?
I don't know. Is it? I can't remember if it was actually properly co-op. I feel like that was like, it was assumed and then maybe wasn't real. I don't remember. What the heck?
Oh, that's also Pearl Abyss. I forgot that is from them.
Really?
Maybe that's the game.
Maybe both. Why not both?
Oh,
could be. I think
I just googled the siege operator instead. Whoopsie.
The last tweet from the Dokev Twitter account was January 2022, so it's been a minute.
A while.
Oh, yeah, that does not speak well. I mean, hopefully
they're just finishing the game, but it did really have wildly ambitious vibes from that initial trailer that did not necessarily like fit well with the reality of putting out a game of the kind of the scale they were promising. So I don't know. It might not ever come out.
Oh, one last wish list that'll like pair with a plug for our show. Don't forget the PC gaming show is happening. Yes. That's gonna be on June 11th on Sunday, after Xbox and Starfield, right? Yes, it's after Xbox and Starfield. Anyway, I was poking around looking at our news coverage of our own event of Joshua's post and saw mentioned that Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be at our event. And Larian is also on the list for Summer Game Fest. So I think we'll probably be getting several different Baldur's Gate 3 things.
And it's out this year for sure. So
yeah, for real this time, probably. So I'll be interested to see, because it's been rolling through early access. Like, are we going to maybe see some stuff past Act 1? Are they going to be teasing, stuff that we haven't seen played yet? Hopefully, presumably.
Yeah,
that's
surely,
what I would like
right?
to see. Yeah.
I'm going to actually be in LA for this weekend. I'm going to the Summer Game Fest demo event that they're doing after the Summer Game Fest show. So I'll probably be playing a few of the games that we have mentioned today, or a lot of ones that we haven't talked about. I hope there'll be some cool surprises there. But yeah, lots of, it's not E3, but there's going to be a couple days worth of demos, so there should be some stuff to write about beyond trailers, I hope.
Yeah, some hands-on stuff. Awesome. Thanks, Wes, for coming and debriefing. Well, not debriefing, pre-briefing. Is not E3 with us. The stuff to look forward to, we're all going to enjoy in our own ways, probably from these exact spots that you're looking at. We'll all be right here, except for Wes. You might be able to. But
except for me.
And except what? Well, I'll be here.
Where are you going to be, Molly?
I'm going to be in a field in Derby at a music festival, getting very drunk. So there is a huge UK like rock and metal festival that happens every year called Download, and I will be there, probably arse over tits, listening to some good ass music while our show is happening. So
well, I'll be thinking of that while I'm hunched over in a hotel room trying to write up a trailer that I watched on my laptop while eating whatever crappy hotel food I have.
I'll be thinking of you, Molly, while I'm looking at my top monitor and my stack of takeaway boxes next to me is growing ever higher. It'll be a great
if I am sober enough, I will think of you too as well.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Awesome, guys. Everybody enjoy the thing that's not E3, the Summer Showcase weekend. May there be many announcements. May you get the one that you were waiting for, hoping for the best for all of us. Bye.
Goodbye.